All right, 11th grade team. Good news. We can finally use the grade passback function on Schoology, which is very exciting. Um, the initial setup is pretty simple. It takes about 30, maybe 60 seconds, depending on your internet connection. So I'm going to take you from start to finish. I'm going to use Brana's physics class, and then I'll keep the screen split so that you can see both sides of it as it updates. Also, I'm at home today with Natalie because she is ill, but she is still playing the violin, and it is very loud. So I apologize for the soundtrack in the background. Okay, so first step, you have to map, or basically you have to tell Schoology where you want each assignment to go. And you do that through your Schoology Sys Connect app, which is here on the left-hand side. So when you click that button, it's going to take you to the kind of like the control panel for the configuration. So you click here on configuration, and you are just telling which category to go where. You're going to either map it formative to formative, or you could create a new Schoology category in your grade book, and you would only use that if you hadn't already created the categories according to our grading policy. So formative, summative, summative. I'm gonna leave this one alone for now because we won't ever put the common assessment in Schoology, so I don't want it to do anything with that. Then I'm going to click Save Configuration. It tells me that this is done. And now I can go back to my grade book. And there's one of two ways for you to go about syncing. The first is you click this little guy right here, and it's going to sync changes for all assignments. If you do not want all assignments to be synced once, because for year-long courses, you will never want to do this because it's going to sync for multiple quarters. And so you definitely don't want to do that. But for semester-long courses, this is matters a little less. So you're going to click on the sync status log, which is this little clipboard guide, and it's going to give you the window, this little window that has each of your assessments. Now, Brana has already input these grades here, so I can see the 4.6, 4.7, 4.9, 13, and 14. So what I can do is I can look to see, okay, 4.6 setup is like 100% completion on that. That's all up to date over here. 4.7. 4.7 looks like maybe a place to sync. So what I would do is I would click the clipboard, and then I would click this guy right here, and I'm going to click that for, I can't read that, the law, exit ticket. It's going to queue it, thinks about it for a second. I'm going to also click, let's click this guy. Now, there's a few things that are different about the Skyward Sync than were true of the ESP Sync. One is that your comments actually do trail with the assignment. So if you're inputting comments on your Schoology gradebook, those will come over with the sync, which is fantastic news. The other is that the flags in Schoology do trigger score clarifiers in Skyward. Which score clarifiers is a little bit different, and they don't necessarily say, like, missing isn't going to necessarily come across as missing. It's going to come across as no score. All right, so there we go. It says it's successful. I click done. Now I can come over here and I can refresh the screen, and you should notice some changes. So this guy, duplicate, parallel circuits. So that one created a duplicate here. 4.6, 6, 7, 9, 13. Okay. All right. So when I synced those two assignments, it created the columns here and it created a new assignment. So now anytime I change a grade over here, I can sync it again and it's going to impact this over here. So for example, Stephanie for 414, she has a 50. I'm going to change this to 100. And then I'm going to resync that. So I can go here. I'm going to resync that one. It's going to think about it for a second. So one of the things that you'll notice is that it automatically put the due date here for June 10th. If there's not a due date specified in Schoology, it just defaults to the last day of the cycle. If you update that date in Schoology, resync, and it will update it in Skyward as well. So anytime that you sync, this data is going to change. So if that queue is successful, I'm going to hit refresh, and now you'll notice that Stephanie's grade is at 100. So keeping your grades updated in Schoology, clicking sync for the individual assignments, it updates in Skyward. You no longer have to individually enter the data. So while we're all getting the hang of how to complete the sync, we're going to stick with the very basics of one, configuring your gradebook with the Schoology Assist Connect, which again is right here. And you're going to just click individual assignments, the ones that you want to make sure go into your Skyward gradebook. And then we're going to make sure that we're using, in your gradebook, you're going to be syncing from the clipboard. So you click the clipboard and then sync the individual assignments. Once you do that, all of your data will be pushed over right here and you are good to go. I'm going to show one more thing, that in this exam, the 414, if I go actions, edit, yeah. See how there's no due date listed? I'm going to change this. And don't worry, Brian, I'm going to put it back. But if I put the due date for, let's say, Friday, and I'm going to save those changes. Now I'm going to come back to my grade book. I'm going to come to the clipboard. I'm going to resync this. Refresh the screen. So just waiting for that queue to go through. And of course, it's taking a little bit longer. Okay. Well, while we wait for that to sync, I'm going to explain what you should do if you sync something that you do not want in your Skyward gradebook. So let's say Brana, after letting me take over his gradebooks for a little bit, is like, well, I don't really want these columns that were synced via Schoology because I already have that data input over here. So all you have to do if you want to remove the assignment is clear all data. I believe it's in the math score. Remove all scores, save, and then it lets you delete. All right, so that sync is now successful. So I'm going to come back and refresh this. And there you go. So the grading, the due date has updated based on the edits that I made in Schoology. So any changes that you make to the assignment in Schoology will sync over to Skyward. Everything with one tiny exception, and that is if you change the assessment or assignment to being ungraded, that breaks the connection between Schoology and Skyward. So let's walk through it one more time. You configure here. Under configuration, formative, summative. You come to your gradebook, go to your clipboard, and sync. And then you should get this lovely little successful sign here. And then your assignment and or data will be pushed over into Skyward. We're going to hopefully have some office hours where we can go through this together, either Friday or Monday. But on the off chance that we don't get to have that time, I wanted to make sure that I had a resource for you guys to refer to, so we can make sure we test this out over the next couple of weeks and get as much experience as possible, because next year all grade levels will be using the grade passback, or at least that's the decision as it stands today. So thank you, Chris, for letting me take over your gradebook, and you have a good day.